Where is it? Oh,
There he
okay.
is. Good
Yeah, my
morning.
apologies. My
That's
apologies.
fine.
Okay. Oh gosh. Or can you
Activities.
bring up the stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I guess
you're doing such incredible
oh,
work. I want you to know that I was working with another survivor who has, she's the one that the thought of doing an event, what?
I grew butternut squash for the first time ever.
Is that right?
We ate one a couple days ago. Yeah.
I thought you had something you were going to be venting with, like barbell.
No, sorry. My parts wanted to give you something happy first.
Oh, well done. Well done. Good. No, I mean, you got the green thumb.
Oh, so what was your other client?
Oh, so I talked about how you've been doing the before and after, or before and current, or the starting, and you could just see it's like, wow. And I said, listen here, and
I
again,
could send you a copy if you want to share it with other people.
if you wouldn't mind, because
Not at
that would
all.
be
Yeah,
great.
I'll send it over.
And then I talked about your knee. Again, I keep your
Oh,
name confidential, and she's staring at me. I said, so the body keeps score.
oh yeah.
And so
Totally.
when I actually just brought it up the very first time about venting, she's kind of staring. I mean, that's how tight she is, right? And
Yeah.
she, well, I don't know, just the very thought of letting anything out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
And you know what I even started doing, like on the weekends when Chris is here, I don't feel comfortable kind of letting loose. So I thought to myself, well, I need to go out to there. We have a freezer out there and get some meat for the night. And I thought, you know what, just grab that knife and stab it a little bit, you know? And we stabbed it like 10 or 15 times.
perfect.
And then went and got the meat and came in. It's like maybe 15
Okay, there
seconds.
you go.
So
I
that's
watched
what
the
I'm doing now is I go in and out of the garage for
perfect.
something. I'll give it a whack.
That right, that
Just
channels the
every
body,
little bit, every little
keeping
bit.
it
Yeah.
current.
Yeah. Yeah.
I watched your vending video on what's the green why am I forgetting?
Rumble?
Yes, yes, that one. The
The
green.
green one. Yeah.
So outstanding.
Oh, good. Okay. Because I watch it and go, I
Yeah,
usually
no,
giggle at myself.
outstanding. Right? Because you're modeling here's how you do it.
Yeah, and you're not going to lose your mind. It's only 5 or 10 minutes and you're done. You get a little sweaty and you'll cool off. It's not a big deal. But I always feel better afterwards. Like this morning, my thumbs were feeling tingly and numb. And I just went out to get meat and I thought, you know what? Screw it. I spent 2 or 3 minutes, whacked the heck out of the knee and the thumbs and the mouth and the head and the back of the neck and came back in. It's like,
Now, here's the first thing that comes to mind when you mentioned about the thumbs. You had said that when they were forcing the abortion upon you at the military base.
yeah, that was partly my thumbs. Yeah. And I think because they knew from prior, I think that files are kept on us somewhere,
Yeah,
detailed, intricate files that are passed on.
yeah.
And I finished this part one. I don't know if is it backwards on TV or for you? The Dark New World Order, I was telling you about that.
I'll go
And
back.
that opened up those three new parts. And then I got into part two, maybe, I don't know, 2 or 3 chapters last night. That opened up another part, one more part last night. So I spent the morning putting her on all my stuff.
Okay, we'll review it. I
So I was
want
like, oh my goodness. Yeah, let me share.
the work you're doing is phenomenal.
Yeah, I don't know how and I haven't heard a whisper from
Yeah, you know what, right? I think
I
you
did hear from Scott, though. He sent an email to me and Melissa saying, hey, I've been moving and busy, but I got 2 shows done, and he forwarded the show notes. So we both sent back a text, hey, that's great. Thank you. It'll be very much appreciated and used, but not a whisper since then. That was probably 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Right? Because you're offering them, right? Here's the next,
Actual solutions, but you
right?
have to face
Right.
it. Yeah.
What's powerful is then, it's basically you're saying, listen, how badly do you want it? How badly do you want freedom?
Yeah. I mean, because for not only does she need to
Yeah.
declutter her brain, but she needs to declutter her house, is what I told her.
Okay, good for you.
But whatever, I figured they call back great. If they don't, I'm not worried about it.
Right? You're just putting it out there for them.
So the journal, and it's funny with too, because she was just so excited to have a friend and someone to talk to, and she just went on and on about that for a long time, off and on through the 3 hour conversation. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
I thought I probably you experienced that a lot with your people. I don't know. What if they're reaching out and paying you? That means they want to. But anyway, so so this is what 2 nights ago. This came up. I don't know what part this if it's new or a recurrent part. So just saw an image of a 2-ish-year-old child being walked by a 4 and 5-year-old child. The little one was between the older ones. They were holding hands and almost holding the child up and swinging him as he walked. I thought it was like a cute little scene. Then a few moments later, I saw that same little child was being undressed by the other two. And then I also want to make note of the fact that the back of my head and neck have been hurting and sore most of the evening. And this morning, I finally dawned on me, work on the back of Ted's head. Duh.
Okay.
So I did. Plus, when I was sitting with Chris, I was feeling very drowsy. And when I moved into the other room and started reading, then I was
Oh,
perfectly awake.
okay.
He just bores the hell out of me most of the time. I have to tell you, because he'll always be going on about work. When he tells me the first round, okay, I'm interested in listening. Okay. But then because he's drinking, he'll go over the same shit like 5 or 6 times. And I'm like, it used to irritate me before, but now I think it's just boring the shit out of me. I'm like, okay, Mr. Drunk Man. Anyway,
Right.
at
Oh,
least he's not anger boy, so that's good. And then I had an image. I saw myself like a 3-year-old. I was punching someone. I was just like a little boy. So I
yeah.
don't know who that was. The only boy part I know about that age would be Kevin, the
How about
boy
Sailor?
that
What he else?
huh?
Sailor?
Sailor's much older.
Oh,
Kevin was like, I think 4. Kevin came after Kitten because he was
oh,
the one that
okay.
took the anal stuff. But I didn't think they were born till like 4 or 5. So I don't know who this little 3-year-old be punching somebody. And it also reminds me right now, later in my childhood, say around, well, when I was getting my killer training, 7, 6, 7, 8 years old, in my day life, we'd play with the neighborhood kids and there was a lot of boys. And I would wrestle and fight them, John, and I would win. There was
Right? Okay.
this one boy called Dan Turtenwald. And I just remember fighting with him, not really punching or anything, but like a wrestling match and just getting him down and
Oh,
you know. But I remember my whole life I would think of that from time to time and think, geez, what was that all about? And now I get it.
percent.
Yeah. So anyway, slept. So now it's 4 a.m. Later, I put in the name and I went to the bathroom. I was thinking about that boy from earlier when I laid down. Um,
Wow.
the one that was being, walked and they were swinging. I suddenly got an image of the top of the skull being taken off and his brains being scooped out while he was alive until he died. People were eating them/him with a spoon. He was placed on a table so that his head stuck out the top, the body below. The table was designed so as the neck would be in a vice, which I think is part of my neck stuff lately. It was the Queen and Prince Philip and their party who did this. So this was after the show and everybody's got blooded and whatever. They had a person there with a tiny saw device to cut the skull open perfectly, like a surgeon would use. I mean, the blade was the perfect, it perfectly cut it. It was, and then it was lifted off by holding the hair. The boy's eyes were looking around and terrified. This is after his skull is taken off. I was like, the royalty began to scoop out and eat his brains. He was looking around. His body was quite still, but he was conscious, so I'm sure that he was drugged. I see myself standing in line to this buffet table about 8 people away. I was told this was a delicacy. I remember praying to God for the boy to die quickly. I could see his eyes looking at each person as they reached in to scoop his brains. It was so disgusting. Still like,
No,
like,
venting. To take a whole lot of venting.
I kept praying to God for him to be dead by the time I got there. By the grace of God, I was. I couldn't scoop anything. The attendant there did it for me and put it on my plate, nodded for me to eat it. I did. I was given a small glass of blood to drink it down, which made it even worse. Only then was I allowed to move on to the dessert table. Once I got there, I stuffed myself full
Of course,
of
right?
anything sweet that I could find.
That's
I had so much that I vomited later, and then I went back and ate more. I had to wash away the taste.
yeah, yeah.
I'm crying so hard right now as I dictated that. I couldn't wait to get on the airplane to go. That blessed cigarette to put me to sleep.
Mhm.
The table had one body lying across the center naked. That person was already dead with the skull taken off and brain exposed. There were 3 heads on each side of that torso on both, so there was 6 heads and a 7th in the middle. The line of diners was on both sides. Everybody was chit-chatting and excited for their dinner, so to speak. I just kept praying and praying to God for those children to die as quickly as possible. Please be dead before I got there. The idea of their eyes looking at me was unthinkable. I was sure I was going to go insane if one of them looked at me. By the grace of God, I was far enough back in line for that to happen.
You remember Prince Philip?
Oh, yeah, he was first in line, had a massive plate. Yeah, the queen was sitting over on some like raised up royal chair looking at everybody, and her things were brought to her. And I think Prince Philip as well, but I remember him like lingering around the table, because he got this huge portion, and everybody else had, depending on their pecking order, determined how large their plate was. So by the time, and they all went before me. I was at the back of the line. But my memory came when I was 8 people away. I think that's when it really started to hit me what was happening. So I think I got in line thinking it was regular food, not really looking because there was so many people. But um some people, yeah, but he had a huge plate. I just took one bite-sized piece. That's what I was given, one little, whatever you call a brain part, a little crinkle or whatever. Apparently the queen was thrilled with my performance. That's why I was in line, because Dad and Jack were not allowed. So it's 4:15 now. I'm crying so hard. I have an image sitting on the plane and grateful that cigarette put me to sleep. Another image of watching people scoop that piece brain out. Oh, yeah. I vomited, right? And that brain part came out because I swallowed it whole. I didn't want to chew it. And someone ran over there and scooped the little brain part out. I was like, are you kidding me? It didn't want it to go to waste now, did we? Is what they said. Right now, my stomach is churning. I am and was so revolted. Oh, wait, Jack was thrilled he was included. I guess he was there. I gratefully drifted off into a drug-induced sleep. So we're on the plane now. He was telling Dad about how awesome it was they were included. He was excited for what was next. I think maybe by being included, he thinks means being able to go to do this thing, maybe not in line at the food. He was excited for what was next. The sky was the limit, he said. Dad was all puffed up. I kept saying in my mind, Jesus, please help me. Jesus, please help me. Oh, maybe this was in line. I'm not sure. I didn't want to chew it. I couldn't chew it. I swallowed it whole and it went down hard. The small glass of blood is what I used to wash it down. That's when I was allowed to go to the dessert table. I chewed and swirled around my mouth every sweet thing I could find. I couldn't wait for the cigarette to put me to sleep. Dad and Jack seemed to want to stay there as long as possible, but ultimately we had to go. So I guess they were there. The back of my head and neck are hurting again. It's as though I can feel the pain of those heads that were vices into the table, that were viced into the tables. A lot of people were covered in blood after the performance and were standing in line first. Then the other royalty was after me. Dad and Jack were in line after them. So yeah, I guess they were there. I remember hearing some of the royal people talking about how the children were checked in advance to make sure they were clean, meaning the ones that were. Well, here's what happened is I was sitting on the toilet smoking, dictating, remembering this at 4:15 in the morning. And I remembered that and I thought, well, God, what does eating human brains do to the body? And so I looked it up and there's these tribes that, when the Western civilization went there, got them to stop doing it because it causes disease. Um, what is it? Kuru disease, rare and incurable. And some of these tribes in, what is it, Papua New Guinea, it's part of their natural death ritual when a family member dies to eat their whole body.
I think you need to do a video on this, Diana.
Particularly their brains. But because they've done it for so many generations, it causes body tremors, random outbursts of laughter, and gradual loss of coordination. Then it gives you infection and pneumonia. Often takes years or even decades for symptoms to appear after exposure. The duration is 11 to 14-month life expectancy after the onset of symptoms. So it makes you think about people with Parkinson's and stuff. Transmission of infected prion proteins. The Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, they call it a differential diagnosis. So people with this Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease could be reacting from having to eat human bodies when they were children. Prevention, avoid practices of cannibalism, it says.
Oh, okay.
And the prognosis is fatal. It says the frequency is rare, but approximately 2,700 deaths as of 2005. Now that's just 2,700 deaths from this Kuru disease, right? So add in Parkinson's and add in all these other mental, where you're shaking and anyway. So I read that and I was like, oh my God, are you kidding? And then I remembered this. I remember hearing some of the royal people talk about how the children were checked in advance to make sure they were clean. Apparently they can. The other person was responding, thank goodness, because my cousin is really effed up from his serving years and years ago. Only the best for the queen and her consort. As I was smoking the cigarette on the plane, I had my elbow on my knee and my head was resting on my hand looking down. Jack looked at me and said, what's wrong? I lifted up my head and said nothing. He told me to just finish that cigarette. Once I did, I went to sleep. Dad and Jack each raped me while I was semi-conscious. They were having a grand old time. They would burst out with laughter, almost hysterical, which is one of the symptoms of that thing. And I thought, well, am I taking what I read and laying it over the top of a memory? But no, I think by reading that, it allowed my mind to recall that moment.
Yeah.
And there was lots of hysterical laughter at the orgy and dinner. Jack and Dad did not get to be part of the royal orgy, but I was. Prince Philip raped me many times, which I recorded in that previous journal. When we got off the plane, Jack paid Dad. I was thinking it was about $500. And now this is in 1974. Dad was asking Jack about a certain program, and Jack said, "Oh, yeah, it's only about $150. Dad said he wanted it. Jack said he would get it for him. And then there was a period of time where I was lying there trying to, and finally drifted off, and Kate had another memory. And I added these names a day later. Now I'm at Camp David, and I can see a horse hanging from the rafters. It's being gutted. I can see his head upside down. Dad is telling Jack that I am fine. I have done a few of those myself, meaning disembowelment. And then in the next memory, Donald had to do a dance with the black robe on. Now this is at Camp David, with the black robe on that was open so as to show my body as I swirled and moved around and concealed my body when the robe swirled and moved around. It was like foreplay for the orgy. That is when Nixon, so he's in the audience watching me dance, and he goes like that. Yeah. So then Fatima. So here, this is Nixon, he.
And when Diane, sorry, so when this, you can actually see Nixon's face and everything.
Yes. Nixon used his mouth and raped me. He was chewing at my genitals. Then he anally raped me. When he was done, he went off to drink some more. Now I can see a man on stage facing the audience, sitting in front of a statue of a Hindu god. Oh, this is a completely different memory. I don't know where this is from or what it's from. So I need to put unknown. He is chanting, I was being brought to him to be raped by him. So I don't know what, that's probably another part I don't know yet. Unless, oh my gosh, it just occurred to me when I was into Hinduism in Dallas, I did go to a chanting thing. Wow, I wonder if they didn't do some hand signal and take me to the back room. Wow, okay, awesome. Awesome. I'm going to leave that open so I can flesh that out. And then the next morning, this is all that happened. So I'm up for an hour, go back to sleep for 2 hours. So I'm up at 7. I keep having that song go through my mind. I'm too sexy for my body. Da, 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 so sexy, it hurts. That's the lyric.
Wow.
Just leave it there. I have no idea where that came from. I think it's just one of my parts in my head because that song didn't happen until I was my 20s or 30s. So, and today it was been going through my head too. So that's great
You know, it might be interesting, Diana, even with that.
to go hit Ted.
Add, right? And maybe that'll dislodge, as it were, a part that'll be able to,
Yeah.
no, and maybe even play the song and start whacking and see what comes up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So this is the 2 nights later. Not last night, but the night before. So Eliza, well, again, I added the names later, the ones on the left. So I'm laying down to go to bed. I have an image in my mind. I'm looking at myself from behind. And at first I thought I was pulling paper towards me, like butcher paper, a large roll of paper. But that didn't make sense. I realized I was being made to pull the skin off the back of a human being from the shoulders down to the buttocks. And I was doing it. I had another job in the butcher shop before we went to the ritual on the roof and then left. The Skinners weren't done, but the butchers were, so we had to go and help them finish up in time for the ritual. these were the torsos without limbs I had prepared earlier, ready for skinning. Remember I said there was another room where the torsos went. So time passes. I have 3 new parts, and this, I heard this literally in my head. I have 3 new parts called Brandy, Fatima, and Joshua. And I went, okay.
Oh,
Brandy saw the cannibalism of the human brains. And this just means I put it in my PowerPoint. Joshua is the killer who performed on stage. He used machetes. Remember, I used the machete on Ted first
yeah.
till I cut Ted. I always thought that was Knight or Barry, but no, it was Joshua.
And there's Joshua.
Didn't even know he existed. Yeah.
That's what's going on with your thumbs right there.
Yeah, he had his thumbs pushed backwards and intentionally. His thumbs were always tortured, which is crazy because he would need his thumbs to hold the machetes.
Yeah.
So he would have to dissociate from the pain in order to hold them. So with every blow, his thumbs
Yeah.
inflamed, but he had to squeeze to do the job.
Yeah.
So there's that mind fuck of, instilling the pain to keep quiet but also performing the job. I was gobsmacked.
Has he had a chance to do venting?
Yeah, this morning, all 3 of these guys did about, I don't know, 3 to 4 minutes. But I learned about that in this book, how they put you in a pain state
Yep.
and make you perform those duties to dig the programming deeper and deeper and
100%.
deeper. And I never thought about that before, but I think from reading that is what opened up all these things for me.
And Diana, my apologies. What's the name of the book, or can you send me a
Yeah,
link?
Dark New World Order, Part 1, Part 2, 2 books.
Is that from the guy that did that documentary?
Dr. Marcel
That's
Polte, Polte. And in here, he talks about that one Scotland Yard detective that I saw on Emma's show. He also, I don't know, I think he may have seen Emma's show or talked to him as well. But yeah, that's the man, the German lawyer
Yeah. Yep.
who did the 50 Voices and is
Yeah, that's
working
the one.
with
Yeah, because
German.
I listened to him on Emma's program. I haven't seen that video, that documentary. I need to.
Oh, yeah, there's a cup. I think there's a 2 hour one, which I didn't even know it had anything to do with the 50 Voices, because I didn't learn about the 50 Voices till like a month later, and all this was before I even met you. So as I'm watching Emma's shows and these people, I'm, oh, that's things are clicking together.
There you go.
The SRA community, so to speak, because I'm still learning all these people. Okay, so Joshua is showing me that he had to chop off an entire arm or leg with one blow if he could. He always tried to do so that he would not have to strike again because his thumbs hurt so badly. It motivated him to get it done with one blow. So Camp David, this is who was at Camp David. He chopped off a man's forearm once, like right here, and watched the man looking at his forearms, squirting blood all over the place. The man stood there looking at it, screaming until he bled to death and dropped dead. Now, this was in the middle of that, like, it's like a main room at Camp David. I think I saw a picture of it. I should probably look it up. Let me.
It'd be interesting to have you sketch out the floor plan.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Because how would you know the floor plan unless you were there?
Oh, right. I'll do that before I look at it. But yeah, it's like a huge dining or conference room or whatever kind of furniture they're going to put in there for whatever event. It's like, maybe the size of my whole house which is like 1,600 square feet, just this one room. So it's very big. So that's where it was. I'll put in main room. Josh, and then I'm going backwards in time. Joshua practiced on the hanging horse. He practiced on the horse because ultimately he would have to slice up a man. This was at Camp David. Nixon witnessed this and he said, God damn, that's good. That's brilliant. I can, Nixon's voice. God damn, that's good. That's brilliant. And he asked me, how the hell can a kid like you do that? I told him the knife did all the work, sir. You have to know how to swing it. He chuckled at that.
You remember this.
Mhm, mhm. His voice is unmistakable,
Are
right?
you going to be doing a program on this?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna read all my journals as I go through time, all of them.
Okay, because this needs to be out there.
Yeah. He took me into a room and raped me. He chewed on my vagina and clitoris badly. He raped me orally. He said, all right, I'm done with you, and left the room. Jack escorted me out of that room. So I guess Jack was either waiting at the door or in there watching. I don't know. So here's another. Oh, yeah. So this is still at Camp David. I had a dog collar on. That was Fatima. Fatima was orally gang raped that night by many of Nixon's high officials. I looked up Nixon's cabinet, and two of the guys I looked at, I just shuddered.
Oh,
There's one short little dude. I don't know what their names were. I didn't really get into it, but I thought, let me look at the pictures,
you
and
need to find their names.
freaked me out. I was like,
Chris is going to have a new mission. I'll go with him.
well, Chris won't even know about any of this. I mean, but thank you for that. But
Unbelievable.
yeah, but Chris is still wrapped up. He's caught up in Trump mania, going to win the
Oh,
election. He's still wrapped up in politics and the
yeah,
left versus right. And I keep trying to tell him it's all bullshit. All of it is bullshit. It's all a show.
yeah.
I think that whole shooting was
Look at
fake.
this. Look at this. Here's the right.
Hmm. Um, I had the machete in my hand with the point of it on the floor, one knee up and one knee down, like some savage warrior while they did that. So yeah, I just stand there like some, Nubian warrior princess with the machete at my side, kneeling so that my legs were spread apart, but like a warrior's kneel. I found a picture of it. I'll show you Fatima's picture. Um, Where are they? Oh, this one disturbs me. I don't really look at it too much.
Oh,
That's the spirit cooking dinners. You see my eyes are closed. I don't like it at all.
would you send me that picture, Diana?
Sure. It's an anger and the head. It's
No,
got,
I
yeah.
need that because I'm gonna, when I
That was at the Met Gala. It was a picture from the Met Gala. One year their theme was spirit cooking. That Marina Abramovich
yeah,
woman. Well, that's what she does, spirit cooking. And
yeah,
they
I need that because
pretend.
when I start to address SRA and
Look at all these heads.
yeah, would you send that to me?
It's just so distor and imagine that cut off and the brain sticking out. Yeah.
Because that's there, right? When I start to address that one series that I'm going to do with Emma once I get back about SRA stuff.
It's so disturbing. Yeah. Anyway, this is Joshua. It's not a machete, but it's as close a picture I could find.
Yeah.
And here's how with remove the shield, and that's how I had to stand. Except the knife I thought was on the outside of my leg, but it may have been on the inside. I don't know. And look at the butterfly on it.
Oh,
I just noticed that. I didn't look at these pictures too deeply. I just said, okay. They said, yeah, take that picture. And I did.
yeah,
Pasted it.
monarch.
Hmm. So yeah, and then yeah, Brandy, Joshua, Fatima, and I have to show you the next one. We'll get to that. Um, okay, well, it turns them on knowing that I could lift it up and cut them at any time. but I knew that I had better not budge it or I would be dead. Some of them intentionally sliced a finger or their palm when they were finished, so they'd get done putting their dick in my mouth, and then they would cut their hand or their finger. Some sort of ritual that they were part of the group now. If they were new, it was at the finger, like the index finger. Or I'm just realizing different people had different fingers, so I think it indicated a pecking order. The palm, if they were seasoned, then they would lick at their own blood. Josh was given an injection before I sliced up that horse. I was very robotic. They led me to the performance area, which was some sort of large room, like a dining room or living room, except 5 times the size of a normal one. Like I said, it's like maybe 1,000, 1,500 square feet.
And I'm sorry, this is still at Camp
Camp
David?
David, yeah. The furniture was removed. They brought out a man, and someone told a story. I was a warrior of some savage tribe that was to fight against this alien intruder. He had no weapon except his hands. They thought it was a good matchup, a grown man against a little girl with a machete. I won. I became their prize. That was the man I cut his forearm off. So this room in Camp David, you get blood squirting all over the place. So they must really have to scrub those damn floors or put new carpet down constantly. So then Fatima, after the man fell, I'm glad, to death, I was to kneel like a warrior with my weapon at my side. All the men there early raped me each in their turn. They seemed to know their pecking order because they were all sitting and watching. And when one man finished, another knew when it was his turn to get up. It's not like anyone pointed and said, Joe, get up, or Bob, it's your turn. They just knew. There was music in the background like tribal drums. That's why I was thinking it was like some savage tribe
Is this,
African.
is it fair to say then that this goes hand in hand with the Masonic stuff?
Oh, sure. Yeah, just a whole different type of ritual.
But the order of it, the
Oh, the
peck.
pecking order, sure. Yeah, that was a big deal. It was very precise.
Okay,
It's like they had been not rehearsed, but instructed. You're 1, 2, 3, 4 down the line.
wow.
And the Nixon was the first, and then whoever's second, third, fourth, whatever. I was to look at the ceiling or floor, but not at the men. But I had to keep my eyes open. So I'm either like, or that. But I think I looked up a lot because I didn't want to look at the
No wonder
depth.
the back of your neck hurts.
Oh yeah, looking. Oh, I didn't even dawn on me looking up.
That's what's going on here.
Yeah. One of the men orally raped me and then sliced his
Beat
finger.
the hell out of Ted for this, right?
Oh, I
Just
did this morning. Not a lot, but a
oh
start.
my gosh. But
Oh, and
that's
my jaw is starting to hurt while we're talking.
there
Oh,
we go.
wow.
This is what's come. Oh gosh. Beat the hell out of Nixon today.
Okay.
And tell him Watergate. You want Watergate? I'm going to give you a Watergate.
Well, the funny thing is, John, he resigned 1 month after this.
Oh!
I looked that up. I thought, well, when was he in Canada? And
Ah,
ironically, 1974 is also the year that he resigned, which was, I think, August or September. And I think this must have been like June or something. Or I think maybe it was in August and he resigned. But it was like a month later he resigned. I was like, wow.
so somebody told him to resign. It's that simple. If you've got this kind of stuff,
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Maybe they just used Watergate as an excuse to
yeah,
him resign, yeah.
yeah.
One
Okay.
of the men
That's fine.
orally raped me and then sliced his finger on the machete. After that, instead of walking off, he said he wasn't finished. He took that bloody finger and raped my vagina. Another man said, the next man, I've got one better than that. And then he did it in my anus. After that, they all seemed to want to do the same. I was to kneel there and allow it, looking at the ceiling or the floor. I had blood all over me from the man that I killed. His forearm sprayed all over the place, but now I had blood inside and around and outside of my vagina and anus. It was one thing, to get it on you, but anyway, so then little time goes by. Janet, it occurs to me that how did I ever get cleaned up to arrive back home? Then I remembered we always stopped off at the School Sisters of Notre Dame, and the sisters there would shower me up. They would notice the phrasing, they would shower me up. They would rub their hands all over me while the shower ran. They were lesbian and enjoyed it. They would douche me as well with the shower or a douche. They would then dress me and give me to my dad to take home. My hair was always a rat's nest the next morning because I would go
When you reference it, there's multiple of these women there at this
to
place.
there was two. Yeah.
So it was just child trafficking and abuse at the whole school.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I think, like I said, half of it was for the elite children and their indoctrination in their private school. And
Okay.
then another section for the SRA piece of the pie. Because I would go to bed with wet hair. Mom could never understand it because I remember she would have to brush my hair and get these knots out. It's funny with this memory. So it's like a whole sequence over an hour and a half or something. Because I don't have any emotional reaction to it. I usually will cry really hard, and have kind of a breakdown.
Yeah.
And, but nothing with this. I thought, wow, back then I was just completely and fully numb. And now I seem very disconnected from it. My parts seem almost like ghosts or shadows or zombies. They seem transparent.
Yeah.
But today they're more solid. But they are there and happy to be part of the group of parts. They are happy to be seen, content to exist. Now another disjointed thing. When the nuns were cleaning me up in the shop,
Can I ask you, let's talk just for a moment.
sure.
What's your sense of the almost like ghosts in the background? Now they're happy to be seen.
Well, just that they were so drugged, like Joshua, he felt his thumbs, but it wasn't numb emotionally and mentally. But I believe the physical part could be felt, but because the emotions were turned off, it was just physical and you could ignore that.
Do you think also, I mean, think about the meaning,
It's like they were a shell of a person.
yeah. But think about the meaning and the implications of what you've remembered.
Yeah, that's huge.
This is at the highest levels. So my hunch is, or at least this is what's coming to mind, that if these perps are ever going to focus on making sure that a secret is kept,
Make the part invisible.
okay, all right, I can only imagine what they were told, but because you can't get more dramatic than this, the President of the United States and the Queen. And so,
Yeah, and all of her consort,
okay, and that's
group
right.
and all of Nixon's group.
If ever they're going to bring to bear every single ounce of their sick skill in making sure this part never discloses.
Oh, yeah.
So it's phenomenal. It makes sense that they would make sure that these parts all but disappeared, got so.
Oh, yeah, I never thought of that, yeah. But
Because
whatever that drug was, it was very specific. I mean,
okay.
because Joshua could feel his thumbs. I don't think Fatima felt anything at all. I think she was just a receptacle, you know. But they made sure that I was conscious because Nixon talked to me and I responded in a rational fashion. So I don't know. Um,
Yeah.
oh yeah, and so then I flashed back again when the nuns were cleaning me up in the shower. All I remember was seeing the bottom of the shower curtain because I was still looking up or down only, right? But I knew there was two nuns. I was only looking at the ceiling and the floor. So yeah, I remember seeing the shower curtain for like the bottom 3 feet of the shower curtain and the bottom of the shower.
Can I ask you another thing? This just came to mind. Absolutely random, but since it's this, you got Nixon got his cabinet. Um, I'll tell you the name that just came to Dick Cheney and
You know, Bush, see, I think Bush Senior was a part of his cabinet. Let me see. I have it on my phone, but I should.
Cheney and Rumsfeld. Do you get any sense when you see them or hear about them?
No, not really. Just that I guess because why is this doing this? Oh, that because I'm not on the internet. Um, I think because they just had been on the news for years and years and years, and whatever trigger I may have had a million years ago, if at all,
Yeah.
just got destimulated. Nixon's cabinet. I let my dog out. You gotta go, babe. Come on in. Go do your business. See, when I looked on my phone, I didn't get these images.
So any of these guys?
Ugh,
You need to find-
this guy bothers me.
Which guy? Where is he?
Him.
Okay, you need to find his. Is that Agnew?
I don't know.
You need to find out the names of these people.
Oh, see, the pictures on my phone are much different. This one, this short little guy right there bothers me.
Okay, I wonder. There's got to be names.
Yeah, and there's Bush. And I know that I think isn't this oh geez, I can't think of who that is. He was there. I think all these men were there, but because I didn't look at them, I can't. But yeah, this little guy, he had like short man's disease. We went over and above.
You got to name names. I mean, not. I'm not telling you what to do, but right.
Yeah, no, I know, but isn't this Wolfowitz or Pearl?
I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah, there's Bush right there.
The Bush was calling the shots behind the scene then.
Maybe. I don't know. I know that the Bush family is considered one of the 13 that rule the planet.
What? Is that right?
Yeah, along with the DuPonts and there's I would have to find the video I saw, but when I saw it, I was like the Bushes, really? But yeah, he's related to the Queen by, I don't know, several generations out.
Bushes.
The Bush family, yeah.
I can't stand this.
I know everybody at the top level, all of them are Satanists. All of them. The only way you get to the top is to be a Satanist.
See, it's I'm the perfect guy to you be talking to, right? Or that you right? Because it's like
Yeah, this is the
every
same
person,
thing.
right? And that's what it's the whole thing. That's exactly what all these count on, right? Because it's like actually people have conscience, so it's like no, this stuff doesn't happen. The Third Reich was the last time there was any evil within.
Oh no, no. This guy goes into that. He touches on it in part one, but part two, he's diving deep.
Is he okay?
He's diving deep into the satanic aspect.
I gotta read it. Dang it! I just need more time.
It's yeah, you do. Oh my God. The stuff that I have to say, Melissa found that article where what I forget the name of the magazine, the hit piece they did on you, put your daughter's quotes in
Oh, I'm
there.
telling you, that's what I'm, ever
Oh, it's
since
like, are you kidding? They attacked
that,
every aspect of your life, your business
I'm
life,
telling
your
you,
personal
what,
life, your father life, the
what,
trans. And I kept reading. It was so long. I'm like, are you kidding? It just
I
went
know
on
they did. I mean,
forever.
you know
And I
what?
kept thinking, well, where's the trans part? And sure enough, I
Yep,
finally
there
got
was.
to it, and oh, they're all favorable towards the trans. And this trans person said that about, I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me?
That's what I've been combating ever since Father's.
And that's what I'm sorry for that. I had no idea. The funny thing is, Melissa told me the name of the article, and I was at my computer typing it in. My search engine would not go there. I put
Oh,
in the name of the newspaper,
well, that's nice
the
to know.
name of the article, wouldn't go there. I put in Jon Uhler with all that, and it would bring up the things I've searched about, the things I've watched and your show, all the, whatever, but not that. It wouldn't go there. And I said, Melissa, you've got to send it to me because my search engine won't go there. She goes, you're shitting me. I go, no, it won't go there. I
Oh,
put in the exact title of the article and it wouldn't go there.
that's nice to know, right?
Oh,
So,
yeah. Well, and I told her, I said, when I used to work, if my dog is in or not, which is about an hour south of here, I could put something in my search engine at home and do exactly the same at work and get two different results. And then when I went to Oregon for those 4 months, I happened to look up things about my eyes again, which I've been searching for 10 years. Couldn't find anything at home. But when I went to Oregon, found it immediately.
is that right?
So our search engines are controlled differently, individually and regionally. Yeah, yeah. And once I found that in Oregon, I was like, oh my God. So
Well,
yeah, yeah.
I digress just for a second. Can you share? Can I, because Karen Davis, who was on, I
Oh, you
interviewed,
mean stop share?
or no, can I screen share as well?
Yeah. How do I need to do
Oh, yeah,
something?
you're gonna have to enable that because
Oh,
uh,
sure. Yeah.
this is it's really neat because I've been praying and fasting here for, I don't know how many days.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
I should share this with you. So this will be the power of imprecatory prayers. At some point in time, I'm going to share this. Had to do sort of emergency root canal because it's
Oh,
starting. Right.
gee.
So there I was, whatever, Tuesday in the dentist chair. And again,
On
imprecatory
top of
prayers,
all that. Oh my
the
God.
best way to view imprecatory prayers are it sends forth, the jets off the aircraft carrier. Okay, so I have the book of Psalms. So I'm in the dentist chair. Susan is in the waiting area. And because I'm going to do nitrous oxide. Um, they have background music, but nice little love songs.
Mm-hmm.
Sudden, as I'm in the midst of praying, I'm hearing this different kind of music, and I'm thinking, where do I know this? It's just in the background kind of thing. And it's like, all set, ready? The theme from Top Gun. And I didn't know the title of it. So I just smiled. It's like the Lord specifically did that.
Yeah, it gave you that song. Yeah.
So on the ride home, Susan's driving, and I said, "Hey, let me share with you what just happened." Well, she smiled and she said, "I wondered why the music changed." So she's hearing in the lobby, it's the entire speaker system.
Uh-huh.
So as I was hearing it, she was hearing it, and she said,
Highway to the danger
So
zone.
I didn't even know the title of it.
That just popped in my
Okay.
head.
And so she said, so she confirmed, she said, oh, yeah. And she was able to list off the songs before and after. She says, there's no way. She says, now it makes sense. She said,
Oh,
all love songs.
and
So
now you've got a war battle cry
I
song.
want to show you. It's very cute. Okay, I've got two of these around because I'm in war mode, a spiritual battle.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
That's what I got going.
Yeah.
So that's an imprecatory prayer. Um, so, God's going to send forth the heat-seeking missiles. Back then in Psalms, it says he sends forth his arrows. Okay, so guess what I have delivered to me. So his faithful, whenever you see the combination, you're going to see him back to back through scripture. I'm sorry, in the book of Psalms, his faithfulness and loving kindness, they're always within a sentence together. Okay, so faithfulness references his promise keeping. He's faithful. So the promise, singular, is Deuteronomy 32.
Mm-hmm.
So the last words, the last sentence, the last little verse of Moses to his people are going to remember that, the last words of a man that's going to die, are about God's avenging. God's called the avenger of blood. And so that's why half the book of Psalms, 46%, are imprecatory prayers. That's why pastors won't systematically go through the book of Psalms, because they don't know how to explain it, because they don't want to live by the standard, which is God cares, he knows.
Well, because half of them are probably predators anyway.
Right? So his faithfulness, meaning he's going to send forth his jets, he's going to send them off. And then his loving kindness, he will bring the information up. We'll be able to see the explosion. It's a beautiful experience. So as you're out there, you just beat the hell out of them and ask God, sending forth the missiles. Okay, now, look what I received yesterday. And I now took a screenshot
That
of it.
article even went into, nitpicking how many hours you actually did.
I'm going to speak to all of it.
It's like,
Behind the
oh my
scenes, I discuss
God.
everything. This is one of the perps that have done this. Look what
Yeah.
we find. This was delivered to me. Okay.
Speech, language, hearing.
Sierra Weir is one of the two primary perps that have done this. Oh, we see what? She was found guilty by her board of ethics.
This is one of the people
This
that
is one of
attacked
the
you?
perps. Sierra Weir is one of the perps.
Okay.
So, oops, she's the one that did the formal complaint to my licensing board.
Oh my goodness. Well,
So,
what a surprise, huh?
okay, so there we go. So I'm adding that. So I'm going to hopefully by the end of the weekend, I decided I got to get something out there. So it's the Father's Day video, but Reed's going to print it. So my youngest son,
Mm-hmm.
I have in my possession since Father's Day. So he did a nice video. Well, now it's almost 2 hours. So I thought, you know what, because I'm using a lot of AI generated people. It's very creative the way I'm doing it. It's kind of interesting, but a
Uh-huh.
ton of emails, both work related. So I'm going through every single point, but I'm letting my little characters speak to all this.
Right.
But it's going to still be probably a number of weeks before I can finish that. So I thought, okay, I'll just get Reed's comments out there. So hopefully by the end of the weekend.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah, because I've been watching your
Yeah, but
unmasking the trans.
that's
Yeah.
why I haven't even had time to update my websites.
Well, and I was trying to explain to Melissa, I said, well, it makes sense because I watched the interview of you and that I think it was senator or representative from South Dakota.
Deutsch, yeah.
Yeah, how half of the states have passed this law, which would
Yeah.
criminalizes doctors from doing what they
I
do. And
named it.
she goes, you're kidding. I haven't heard anything about that.
I
I
named
said,
it.
I know. I was shocked
Yeah.
when I heard that too. I said, so of course the good guys are winning in half of the states and it's spreading. They're going to come with full force at the people who are making it happen. And John's one of those people.
That's right.
I said, so of course he's under attack. He's going to be ripped apart because they're losing. And she goes, she was blown up. So I just sent her that article or that thing because she couldn't pull it up. And she had to send me hers because I couldn't pull it up.
Yeah. Yeah, but to think that Nicole, and all because I held her accountable for the code. And
Mhm.
Susan said that she's very private, but she's livid, so she's gonna speak. That'll be in the video as well. I mean,
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
all because I held my daughter accountable, and the hardest thing. Have you listened to that hour and 45 minute one? I've only listened to 45 minutes. She reached out to them.
No, I only read an article. I didn't know it
Oh,
went.
there's a whole hour and 45 minute interview with her. So
Where's that? I don't even know if I
I can
want to
send it
watch
to you.
it.
It's just, she gets off. So, I mean, it's like, I can't, but the hardest thing, she uses my first name, my own daughter. She refers
Well,
to me as John.
yeah, see
That's
that
the hardest thing
itself
for me to
should
hear out of the whole thing.
that
Of,
in itself should indicate that she's got issues. But anyway,
anyways, okay. So
yeah.
how do we get off? Sorry about that. So
No, it's quite all right. I think we were here. Oh, yeah. Oh, I
it's
gotta
a
share
real,
again. I gotta share again.
sorry about that. But
No,
that,
no
yeah, behind the
problem.
scenes, that's what I'm working on.
Um, yeah, I saw the bottom of the shower curtain. I says, does a 9-year-old have pubic hair? I find myself right in that moment, pulling at my pubic hair as though trying to pull something off of it, like trying to get the blood off of it. So it's the next morning, reading this, I realized it was the nuns pulling at my hair to get the blood off. They also put their fingers inside of me to supposedly clean me off too. So I was like, oh, that's fabulous. So that wound up in Janet's entry. Yeah, because she was the one that got raped and stuff at that place. And then this one was oh geez, Canada. Oh, this one was last night. Laying down to go to bed. Eliza is telling me when she had to go into the skinning room and pull the skin off the body, she split off. Lizzie was born. Lizzie skinned the bodies in that butcher shop. It was also Lizzie who went up to the roof for the ritual. She watched the mean Satanist, I don't know what to call him, the head of all that, put on freshly skinned human flesh that was sewn together to cover his entire body with the flesh of other human beings. So as we were pulling it off, people were like tailors and cutting it, and then they would sew the pieces together and put it on him and made sure it fit. So they didn't even treat the skin like you would treat an animal hide. They put it on him freshly raw, you know.
Sort
Yeah,
of been almost get the feel of, like
yeah.
here,
When I think about it or talk about it,
almost,
it just creeps my skin out.
almost like spandex.
Something, yeah. It completely covered him, including his head and face. So
Oh,
he was covered in God knows how many other human beings' skin.
did
Then
they
he put his robe on over that. We went upstairs to the roof.
did they put somebody's face on him?
Yeah. Have you ever seen the movie with John Travolta and Nicolas Cage called Face Off?
No.
Well, they take a cop and a criminal in high-level security jail, cut their faces off, literally, switch them so that the cop can be in the prison but look like the criminal, and the criminal's on the outside with the cop's face who gets loose, and it's a whole story. But yeah, he had a whole face put on him. Ugh,
Who would think to write a movie like that?
I know. And if
Because I
yeah,
heard John Travolta has been,
he's gay. He's a high-level Scientology who goes off the rails from time to time, and they gotta reel him back
you
in.
think he's been a part of this kind of stuff?
Oh, sure, sure. Yeah. He's a pedophile. They have, you'll find various stories from time to time talking about how he, you know, screws little boys, whatever. And I'm sure Scientology gets them for him. He did part of his ritual in his robe. Then when he got to the climax of it, he removed the robe to display to his God the human sacrifice that he was wearing. He offered himself to his God. That's when the demonic creature, that black thing, moved through the sky like a snake down to him. So in this moment, as I'm remembering the butchery and we're going up to the roof, and that thing moved like a snake through the sky, almost in like dramatic effect until it got down to him. It seemed to swallow the man in its mouth. So it's like it came down and swallowed him, but at the same time, it entered the man. So the man was swallowed up by the entity on the outside, but it was also filled with that entity from the inside and then emanating out of him. So it's like by swallowing him, the man became him.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was snake-like and also like nebulous black smoke. It was quite terrifying. He
If you,
said, "You
if
have
you,
just witnessed the birth of a god," is what he said.
uh,
Very,
right.
very deep and loud and
It
blah.
would be something if you can ever find who that guy was.
Oh, I know. So I'll show you. Imagine this, except it wasn't. If you have a dark sky, but like this thing is dark, but somehow not dark. But see how it looks like a snake?
Yeah.
And it kind of is like that. But this is Lizzie right here. I chose this for her picture first, and I realized no, that's not her, that's the entity,
Yeah. Yeah.
which I called the smoke demon, but this was her surrounded because that thing moved in and around us. That
Oh, really?
in the circle around him. Yeah, it was like and she was, I guess, splitting. I don't know, but she was like terrified, just terrified. Maybe she's
Diane, this
still,
is
I don't know.
why you are so, in a good way, you're so dangerous to the dark side, right? To Satan.
Oh, because I can see the stuff. Yeah. Now,
Okay?
here's the thing, John.
You've lived to tell
Again,
about
I didn't remember any of this. The beginning of this book, I'm like right here, like, 1/5 of the way through. And he discusses how he goes into the whole reptilian thing and how the people at the top are reptilian and how he talked to Kathy O'Brien and all these people and they've had all these experiences where they see snake-like creatures and whatever. And I'm thinking, oh God, is this bullshit, as I'm reading it. But he finally gets to a point where he says, well, Kathy O'Brien is certain that it was holographic. I'm like, okay, we've got some rationality here. But then he goes, but think about this. So he goes back in time, all the way back to like, I don't know, Babylon or before, going in detail about all the cultures that worshiped snake-like deities.
Yeah.
And so he's connecting the snake-like deity with actual Satan himself.
Yeah.
And that Satan himself, is, could be a snake, a dragon, a lizard, but it's, reptilian, so to speak. And so my mind started putting this together, going, oh, so these conspiracy theories that say there's reptilians, blah, blah, blah. They really believe that there's some sort of reptilian creature, man person. But ultimately, I think it was that the SRA victims saw the demon
There you
in the
go.
form of a snake or a
There you go.
reptilian or a dragon.
There.
Like,
Good.
like Chris saw his victims as animals, and
Yeah.
I saw my victims as aliens,
Yeah.
literally aliens, the gray head,
Yep.
realizing no, it was just the word that makes me think of that image,
Yep.
that analytical overlay. And so I'm thinking, oh, okay. So I finally got to the end of the chapter and I'm like, okay, good. We're not going into the conspiracy superficial nonsense. He's really tying it and weaving it together with all of this historical archaeological data with SRA victims' experience and how it's Satan, Lucifer himself.
There
So
you
say
go.
whatever you want to call that being, it's the one that is antithetical to God,
There you go.
and it's generally but he also talks about it being black smoke, which is how I and Chris and Susan have seen it. right? But in this memory, it was a black smoke snake. Until I read this little portion, it's like it unlocked the idea for me. I remembered, yeah, there was emotion. There was like a sliding, slithering, motion, and it moved very quickly and like a snake moves, except it's, ethereal. And I went, oh, duh. So yeah, that's why I picked this image because it was snake-like. And if you look at my draw that one sketch I did in Himmler's Castle with the black smoke, I sketched all of it except for this part, right? I don't know if you remember that picture, but it's black and it's got the little slits for red slit eyes in the middle of the black smoke.
And do you have that accessible?
Yeah, and the only part I don't have sketches, hopefully I can.
Oh gosh,
Night in Katerina. I think it's in this one. No. Well, wait a minute.
look at how much work you've been doing.
Well, maybe it's under bullet. No.
That's okay. Well, if you find it, you can.
Lily. Blue, black, matte. Oh no.
Okay.
Yeah, I would actually, let me just go get my sketchbook real quick.
Yeah. Phenomenal work, Diana.
Oh, it's under, I remember what it's under. It's under spirit.
Um,
Because spirit was the one that saw it. Where is that? Do you see spirit anywhere in here? That's why I started putting the part names on here so I could find stuff. No, I'm not seeing it. But yeah, oh yeah, well, here's one image.
oh, okay. I do remember
That's
that.
that weird little,
That
that,
appeared. Yeah.
but it might be right next to this. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Do you think that maybe you did not take a picture of it, and so there's not a file on it?
Maybe, or maybe somebody deleted the file, who knows?
Oh,
I'm pretty sure I put it in here.
so if somebody did delete the file, then you're getting close to some, right? Then,
Oh yeah, I have no doubt. I mean, they watch us like nobody's business.
oh, I was thinking of a part. Maybe a part deleted it.
Oh, oh, well, I don't know, maybe. I always think of external influence because
Oh, that's all right.
it was Himmler's castle.
Yeah.
Oh, John, I also, the other day, I got up in the morning to go out front and water, and the front door was not locked at all. We have a bolt and then also a lock on the handle, completely open. And I opened that up a little nervous to have our metal security gate was not only unlocked and open, but it was wide open. And I was like, there's no way Chris or I would ever allow that or do that. So I thought, did somebody come into our house while we were sleeping?
There's no way that Chris wouldn't have awakened.
No, he is overly anal with the doors. And I have been for the past 2 weeks because
But if somebody came in, Chris would have heard it.
you'd hope so, but if he was drunk, he didn't get, shit-faced pass out drunk at all, but you know, who knows if he
Did you
woke
share
up
this?
and,
Did you
huh?
share this with him? Did you tell him about this?
No, because I didn't want him losing it. I didn't know.
Okay. When was this?
Um, 3, 4 nights ago when I remembered, oh geez, was it the Nixon stuff? I think it was. Because I'm dictating it in my phone, so if they're monitoring my phone,
I don't know. Part of me thinks you need to tell him.
I probably should, but and I kept racking my brains going, well, I remember we had a delivery and I had to go out there and get it. But John, I have a body memory of locking doors all the time. And sometimes when Chris is out in the garage and I go out to get something, I'll come in and I lock him out accidentally.
You guys have a security system?
No, no.
Then
Other than, the locks on the
you
doors.
guys need a security system
Because I changed.
with cameras. With cameras. Absolutely. Maybe we were supposed to
Maybe
talk
I'll
about
talk to
with the
him
amount of
about
money
that. Yeah.
that you guys give to his daughter and stuff. Then get a really good security set with cameras.
Okay. Okay. And then there was something else that happened. I can't remember that made me think, was somebody in this house?
See, yeah. Talk to Chris. You guys need a really good security system.
And God, I can't think of what it is now. I should have recorded it in my phone and I didn't. I remember thinking, tell John about it. But I feel like I'm missing stuff here. Let me change this.
I mean, Dixie?
Oh, I no, Dixie is not like if I think if someone came into the house and she woke up, she would alert us for
Yeah.
sure. But I don't know. Can somebody blow smoke in your face and keep you asleep or something like that? I don't know.
Yeah, probably not.
I think something else happened and I thought, oh, I don't know, is somebody in our house? Where is I know I put it on this PowerPoint. It's under.
That little entity that uh, made that push down on your mattress, and the one that Chris has been, oh yeah, I fight it all the time. Take my neck. Any update on that? Has he seen it? In
I
one,
haven't at all.
have you asked him if he has seen it?
No. Oh, I did ask him. I said, when was that? Before Patches died or after? He said, no, after. So it's not been a forever ever thing.
I want to ask him for an update because I've been praying for you guys.
Oh, thank you. I've been praying for you guys myself out loud now, not quietly. I speak it, my prayers now out loud. Oh man. It's under Himmler's castle, so that would be Knight and Katerina. And I go out of my way to back up my stuff and unplug it in case anything happens.
And do you have a flash drive where you've downloaded this stuff
Yeah,
onto?
I have 3 external hard drives because about 10 years ago I lost all my photos because
Yeah.
an external flash drive went bad.
Oh,
Oh man, it's gone.
the Himmler's Castle thing?
No, the sketch. See that face, how they cut the face off? That guy had a face put on him.
Yeah, like that.
No, wow. I'm gonna look for that more in detail later, but anyway. So we bowed and kneeled to it, each had a human heart in our hand. We presented it to him. He placed the whole thing in his mouth to eat, except it was eaten not as flesh, but as energy. So he like breathed it in and it disappeared into
Oh,
him, but it was a physical object. He ingested each one. After we presented our offering, we descended the stairs. Gosh darn it.
this is at the meat packing thing.
After that, there was a meal with human flesh and blood that he presided over. Eventually, we were allowed to leave. I was taken in a van to a boat back to SSND. Then my dad drove me home. And then a short while after that, I had another image of seeing, first I was seeing Dixie eating food out of her bowl, and then that slowly morphed into an image of seeing myself on my hands and knees eating food out of a dog bowl. Not with my hands, eating like a dog, licking it up. Winnie had to do that as well as Sweetie. And then it's morning. Oh, this morning I had a dream last night several times, and in it showed not necessarily a chart or a graph, but it was like a sign with the 4 different bullet points on it. And I have had a huge realization about it, that that somehow those merged together. I think the bullet points, the idea, the concepts. And I think maybe that was a representation of me realizing Satan, the snake, the smoke, the black image, the reptilians, they were all like, but I was starting to understand them as a whole. I keep racking my brains, but I can't think of what it is right now, but it was so, so important in the dream. So I think it was what I just said to you: reptilian, smoke, snake, Satan.
And you know what? And demon possession, I have no doubt that if parts can have different prescriptions of glasses, so it can change the lens, I have no
Oh,
doubt that a
sure.
demon makes
Yeah.
somebody's eyes look reptilian.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I saw, oh, geez, John, here's another quick little aside. I was doing a show for Alan's channel, and in it, they happened to be discussing the mafia and how they said, where's my little note here? That the headquarters of the US mafia is located in Hamilton, Ontario, right? So I looked it up. Can you see this?
Hamilton, Ontario.
In Canada, right?
So
All the mobsters go here. That's their headquarters for the US, goes to Canada. Look how close it is to the place where I was with the Queen. Right there. Niagara on the Lake. Remember that? Right there. So we're, less than an hour away from this major mafia headquarters. That blew me away.
wow.
And then, in my 20s, I'm being raped by this Milwaukee mobster who knew my name. His wife knew my name and my programming.
Okay. Yep.
So that can be no coincidence.
No.
And then this morning I just added the parts into the PowerPoint and the charts and all that. I don't know what you would like to see or look at.
Well, whatever,
This,
whatever.
this is, Camp David presidential visits. Look at this. Of all the people that went to Camp David, Nixon, they're in double digits. Nixon, 169.
Oh gosh. Now what?
George Bush, 124. George Bush, 150. And where's Reagan? Reagan went 190 times.
I don't even want to think it, but do you think Reagan was?
But look at these other people. Just, Trump 15, Obama 39. I know Reagan for sure is a Satanist because I've done some signs and symbols videos showing Reagan doing this
No.
and this. Yeah, Reagan's in on it. Yeah. I could never tell Chris that because Reagan's his hero. But
Well,
yeah,
I
when I go through my signs and symbols, they're only 10 or 15 minutes. Watch those.
you
And
know,
I try to find politicians doing these, and you'll see Bush's wife and Bush's children all doing this, or this, or this, or this. Yeah, watch my signs and symbols videos. They're all over the place. Sports figures, actors, actresses, politicians galore. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I thought it was fascinating. Nixon was obsessed with going there. You know, Reagan, even more so. You know, Nixon's only second to Reagan. And right after Nixon is Bush, the two Bushes. Where's the other one? Yeah, whatever. But I was like, holy crap. So I thought, well, let me take a screenshot of that. You know, Biden was there like, what does it say, 36 times, I think. Oh, I cut off. But yeah, so this, I think that Camp David is where they do ritual. Of whatever, you know, why is this not shrinking? There it goes. So yeah, that was interesting when I looked at that. Um, I guess where's this? I can put this in here. When I put in Lizzie, Brandy, Joshua, and Fatima. Lizzie and Brandy were nines only because they didn't have to kill anybody. They just had to eat, you know, eat them or wear them.
oh, that's all.
Or eat them or skin them. And then these two had to be raped or killed. And you know, I find it fascinating that my parts come in twins. Like,
And be the backup, the extent of the stress that was going on.
well, there's the killer and the sex part.
You
They're twins. They get born in the same night. Like Knight and Katerina were together.
Yeah.
Joshua and Fatima were together.
Right.
Kitten and Kevin.
Yeah.
Except Kitten and they were both sex things, but one's vaginal, one's anal. But yeah, that really hit me that they're like twins, like Freddie and Frank, frickin' Frack were twins.
Yep.
And Finnegan and Jonathan were like twins. They're both killers, but one sliced the throat and the other one decapitated. So I was like, well, it's interesting. It's like these, they're, I'm having twins all over the place.
Yeah.
Not that they're twins, but yeah. So that's all that is.
Step in when it got too much.
Well, they would always have the killings come first and then the orgies come after because they like that violence gets them all horny and worked up. So then they have their orgies. And so I'll walk in there with one part, I split into a worse killer, and then that worse killer gets to kind of step to the side and say, okay, Kitten, you split off and become a sex thing. And so Kitten provides a new sex personality.
Right. That's right.
You know, so that's what happened at Himmler's Castle and Camp David, and I can't think of where else. So yeah, that was interesting.
You referenced Himmler's Castle again. Dang it, where's my...
Yeah, that's in this book, John. Himmler's
Get
Castle.
ready. There, I just was doing
And there's another place I thought you might be interested in. What in Germany? I'll have to find the name of it in case one of your clients brings it up.
my clients just referenced another castle.
Oh my God, maybe it's the same one.
Talk to me because I wrote it down.
It is called Belgian Illuminati Financial Center. Oh shoot, no, I'm not finding it.
And she had heard of Himmler's Castle. So yeah,
Yeah.
what name of the castle?
Okay, it says in part one, I briefly reported on a CIA safe house in Kronberg im Taunus, Germany. It's called Haus Waldhof, which is not far from the former Camp King in Oberursel.
It doesn't sound familiar.
But I looked it up on a map, and it's not, it's maybe an hour or two from Himmler's Castle. So if they're gonna put people on the rounds, they might wind up at this place. Yeah, it's called Camp King in Oberursel. Oberursel. And in here, they also discuss, says according to Svali, there are three main branches of the modern Illuminati: German, British, and French Russian. So it doesn't surprise me I was sent to Germany. And there's also thing here that was for me to look at. The hell? Oh, here. Such data comes from Germany, working in a group of riches. There's a group in Germany working on collecting data about SRA. It says, in 2007, the Working Group on Ritual Violence conducted a, quote, data collection on the situation of ritual violence in Rhineland-Palatinate, which is the Rhineland Falls where I was stationed. That area is called the Rhineland Falls, a small German state in which 1,058 contact therapists of the Association of Statutory Health Insurance Physicians were contacted. And then he goes into the statistics of generally 3/4 of the people report ritual violence. 12% experienced ritual violence among their patients. 63 cases classified as credible. Of these, 65% concerned ritual sexual abuse. 36% reported human sacrifices. A total of 23 reported homicides. Crime scenes were reported in 56 cases, including 17 multiple responses. 71% of the crimes occurred after 1992. So that was after I was there. By the way, the Association of Statutory Health Insurance Physicians refused to send out the questionnaires despite the promise of the working group to cover additional postage costs, yada. So he's talking about how these doctors and good guys are trying to expose this. They're getting the data, they're collecting stuff, and they're getting bullshit from the other end like you are.
Could you send that to me as well?
Oh, sure. Geez, if I can find it again.
Just the screenshot, whatever you got, because that would be helpful.
Oh man. Oh, it's in
I'm
part
quit
two.
work. It's not what I'm supposed to be doing.
No, it's okay. And also in here, I didn't turn the usually I'll fold the page so I can remember to get there, but mentioned Belgium a lot. There's a lot of ritual things going on in Belgium, of which my name comes from, of which my father went to visit for his work.
Yeah.
So Belgium's a big deal. So is the actual, I mean, they could have sent me to anywhere in Germany. Everybody goes to Germany when you're in the army, right? Why did I go to that particular state? 2 hours from Himmler's Castle, hour and a half from this other place. So they keep records and they pass them forward as we move through life, which is why right now, I know you're watching.
Right.
So sorry, I didn't mean to
That's good.
flip you off, but yeah, they are keeping track of us. I don't really need that because that's just a mind file. But I thought you might like to see this. Oh, I did a breakout for the anger levels. Okay, so we have this overview, but then I did the page. So here's just Fury with Trip all by himself.
Okay, that's good.
And then you have Michael. And then you have Lance. So
there you go. Perfect. Very good, 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 good.
3 months down the line, I can push this out and add a third column and move the gray thing over. And I was thinking about what you said about this contentment satisfaction.
Oh,
And it occurred to me that I think satisfaction for me is the happy and contentment is the peace. Because I was going to add a couple columns and my parts are like, well, it's all the same there. It's all the same.
that's
And I
it.
thought, yeah. And so I made it green because it's a combination of the
I
blue.
like that. Really?
Yeah.
I that really
So
captures it. That's a pretty good description of it.
yeah, so for me, there were these words, and for you, it was these words, and I thought it's kind of all the same.
Yeah. Because
So,
if you're content, you're at peace, and if you're satisfied, you're happy. So perfect. I really like it.
so I thought I would leave that up there so people could get more context for this area. And so that's these guys. I don't want to pull too far out. Injustice. The killer. Again, this is where I really need to put some work because there's quite a few killers that, and I need to add the new killer on there.
Yeah.
And I was thinking I should have just a whole thing instead of anger or sadness, have one just for sex.
Okay.
Who's angry? Who's dead? Who's
Right.
scared? Who's whatever? But yeah,
Absolutely.
there's
That's right.
lots of killers, and then you have the irritation scale. Oops.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I mean, what a
And
here's your
oppression.
next project to work on, but with every part,
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
do
every
this with every
part.
single
Yeah.
part,
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Oh, geez.
right? But I
I
mean,
think I thought, well, I'll do just the anger boys because there's just what 9 or 10 of them. And then the
that
sadness,
would
I'm like,
that's an
there's just 5 of
interesting.
those.
But that's an interest.
But
Now that I'm
yeah,
thinking, easy for me to say because here
I
I'm saying,
think you're right. But I have
yeah. So, but
157 parts
but
now.
think about the concept of taking personal inventory, like you're checking in.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that would be interesting because then you'll really be able to zero it into every single part. Where are they at?
Yeah, yeah.
Spent, have they done? Who's holding out? Now I use that term loosely, right? Who understandably is not they've gone in the background because they
Well,
don't do it.
what occurred to me this morning because of these new parts were so like dead, had no emotional reaction at all.
There we go.
I thought, well, I do need to add a column on here called
Or
numb
like numb.
because they feel nothing at all.
There you go. That's an excellent point as well. They're just numb.
And
So
so
that's
where does numb move? Does numb go to sadness, which goes to anger, or
I just put it in there somewhere.
yeah,
Okay, yeah, maybe even far left. We'll just start with numb.
after despair,
Or how about even before it? Because it's not often, right? You can,
or numb before, yeah, before
I
you
think,
get
yeah,
angry.
because, there are some people that, as a matter of fact, this is really good now that we're talking about it, because we will encounter people, whether survivors or not, who can intellectually describe something, but are absolutely disconnected from their emotions.
And that's what's happening with Fatima and Joshua.
Either numb or disconnected.
I mean, at least Brandy can, she sees the picture and she's like, ugh, I
Yeah.
can't look at that photo too long. And even
So
when I was
I think that
working with it, it was freaking me out. But those
so
two are just, they're like a clean slate emotionally. They're just like,
so blank slate, they're absolutely disconnected. So it could either be detached or disconnected or numb. Something
"Okay, yeah, I think I
that's
will do that. Maybe,
that's good.
yeah, have one document with one name that goes out to infinity.
Eh?
And do it by age or something,
Oh, that's good.
you know? And then maybe you could see the correlation between, well, oh, okay, well, look at all this happened right before, and now we're here and they can feel nothing. Well, that kind of makes sense. Oh, and that might be actually what this graph
Sure,
might.
now repeat what you just said. When they feel nothing, when is that? Before or after they've done?
Maybe after, I was thinking about this while I was doing the impact graph.
Yeah.
How, open up. There we go. How, I mean, look at this year. I mean, oh, this is wrong here, these ages, but just this for 2 or 3 years, just this constant, rage 8, 9, 10, -8, 9, 10 range. And finally, you get to these last two, Joshua and Fatima, and they're just dead inside.
Yeah.
I thought, well, that makes sense because these guys are freaked out. They had a little bit of a break, freaked out, a little bit of a break, freaked out, a little bit
You
of a
know,
break.
interesting that you've almost got then two different things. One is kind of the current state of where that part is at. Are they numb? Are they so that might be, so you've got detached or disconnected versus that would very much be numb. They're just numbed out.
Yeah, yeah, they're just
That could
dead.
actually be, that's
Which
interesting.
reminds me of Kevin, who, where is,
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Diane. Look, I really ought to get more into my our work. So what you could add, you could actually add then two columns. I don't want to give you more work, but maybe so we could almost call the one that's detached or disconnect. We could almost put it in. See that? I was going to say denial. Now, let me qualify that because just as I said, the word denial means not didn't happen. But how about the denial of I know? So intellectually, left brain, I see it
denial of your emotion.
there. So that's very interesting. I think those are two things. Now that
They
I'm just
just
talking this
cut,
through.
they just turn that,
Okay. Oh,
if it's
oh,
possible to turn that
how about
on.
how
I
about
don't
how
know.
about how about this one? Shut down. So we've got denial, which is I know what happened. So shut down means they were in touch with their emotions. It just became catastrophically overwhelming. So those are two different concepts. So if I intellectually can talk about it without having to feel the feelings, so that's that sort
Which
of
is how they
denial.
were. That's how
That's
they
right.
relayed their story, and there was
But
nothing. No
that's right. But the
crying, no anger,
shutdown
nothing.
is as a result of it becoming so catastrophically overwhelming.
Yeah. After this guy,
There you go. Because the denial of
this part,
emotions would say,
it's just
actually, it was,
constant.
that's right. Because the denial of emotion category would say, right, it wasn't that bad. That part would say it was so bad I had to check out, or I numbed out. So that's very interesting. Two different kind of concepts. So
Yeah,
that,
because like I said, Joshua could feel his thumbs hurt,
yeah.
but he could turn it off. And it reminds me of one time I was on a plane ride and I had a cold, a bad cold. And when we lifted up in
Oh gosh.
altitude,
Oh gosh.
oh my God, I had massive head pain.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and I was like, how I just checked out, John. I was awake, I was alert, but I checked out.
Well, fortunately, you could dissociate.
Yeah, and so that maybe that's a whole nother part there.
Yeah, it took the pain.
Or, maybe it was Kevin from when I was a little girl, the one that was kneeling and looking in the mirror at the church, looking at the black rings under my eyes, and I looked at my eyes and my eyes were dead.
Okay, there you go.
I was dead inside.
So dead is not in denial. Dead is just overwhelmed. The maximum overwhelm. So
Yeah, I was like
just
4.
think of adding possibly those two different separate characteristics. How high? Now,
Yeah. I mean, you could
huh,
put 20
yes,
different
you could, right?
qualifiers.
Oh
I'm
gosh.
trying to make it. Well, for this is supposed to be for Ted. So
Yeah,
Ted's about the anger and the
there you go.
sadness, but that would be about emotional maturity, I guess, where
Okay,
you'd list out all the different things.
there you go.
So yeah, that would definitely be something to do. Emotional maturity. Oh my God.
And also the ability to process emotions.
Yeah, or yeah.
Or it brings it up to the present. Right now, it's really the resolution process so that they can be
I
in the,
just called it anger level and sad levels,
there you go, right?
but this would just be emotion levels.
Okay.
Well, but I guess that would correlate with their intensity. So if they're at a -10, it's not necessarily -10 in anger or sadness, it's a -10 in numbness.
And impact wherever you have the my theory is this, to the extent that there's a minus, to the extent that the rage. So whoever's
Right,
lower
right,
they are, the more rage they're going to have.
right. Yeah, except they don't have that and they're -10s. That's what
Right,
they
right.
told
So
me.
therefore, that would be the work to
Maybe
coach.
that's an 11.
Okay, right. So
Maybe
yeah,
that's
okay.
when you get
I,
to 11. You
I
don't
think
feel anything anymore.
perfect. Okay, perfect category. So therefore, you can zero in on what parts that need to start the process. So they would need to start with that little phrase like, I hate you for, how dare you? How dare
Well,
you?
like I did this morning, they each
There you
had,
go.
maybe 5 or 10
There
blows.
you go.
Fatima whacked the hell out of the mouth and the neck.
Good, good.
She's like, my neck hurts. She whacked the neck, pretty hard. I was surprised. So I thought, well, you're not that dead after all.
There we go. Right. That's perfect way to put it. Then you may want to at some point in time also reference that concept that if you feel dead, you need to know you're not. It's
Right?
just
Yeah.
all suppressed. It's just
Yeah.
down and it's locked away. That's perfect.
So yeah, I don't know what else you want to talk about, or if you need to, so got somebody coming up next, or
Unfortunately, I do have a client.
yeah, well, you need to go to the bathroom, I'm sure.
Yeah. Um, well
Um,
done. You do.
thanks. Yeah, I
You're,
think I'll maybe start building that this afternoon because I've set aside the whole day Tuesday and the whole day Friday for this. Because now that I'm doing the videos, oh my God. Chris stayed home till like nine o'clock yesterday, and I thought he was going to be here longer. So I thought, well, while he's on his meeting in the living room, I'll go in the office and quickly download my videos to the site. So I had the 4 tabs open, one for Rumble, YouTube, Odysee, and Bitchute. And so they're downloading. He wanted me to book him a hotel. He put himself on hold for his meeting to come do the hotel. And I was like, oh shit. So I open up a new tab and I'm worried that he's going to see the labels on the tabs. But he never did.
yeah,
But I'm
no.
having, oh God, is there going to be a blow up here, kind of thing. Because he still, I don't think he's aware. But yeah, and yesterday I got 3 weeks ahead with my videos. I got the thumbnails ready, the description cards, the parts made, I had an hour-long journal I had to cut into 5 parts, 6 parts, I think. And it's like, good Lord. But yeah, so I'm cruising along. I felt really good about that because now, and I made a little worksheet so I don't forget to do something.
I'm looking forward to getting your stuff on my site.
Yeah,
I
no,
I
and I
haven't even
want to make
updated.
these blank templates for you. Sorry, I got a phone call coming in. I make the blank templates so that maybe the next time you're on Emma's show or whoever's show, you could just show, well, here's a blank and here's the one my client filled out with her parts. And so this is a TED Talk or whatever.
Perfect. Okay.
And I'm also, when I make the tag on the video, I'll put SRA, comma, TED Talk. So if people look up for a real TED Talk, they might wind up over there.
Okay.
I'm looking at me beating on a torso.
Good
So
for
I
you.
thought, I hope they don't get pissed off or sue me for copyright or something.
That's perfect.
So I was like, yeah, I'll use that until somebody starts squealing about it. So
Well, bless your heart, the stuff you're having to remember and the stuff therefore you went through. And
Yeah, and as much as I just gave up on the notion that there's no more parts. I gave up on it. If
it
there's 50 more, there's 50 more.
is what it is, right? It's now kind of a
It's so
searching mystery.
difficult to keep track of them all. And that, I'm thinking if you have 30 parts, you're lucky. Like we're two. Like, geez, Louise.
Right, but that's how you're going to recover the memories. That's right, finding the parts that have the memories. So it's who's ever there, they're there. Now it's just the old phrase, whatever, I can go say, all y'all oxen free, whatever. It's just
It
bring
is
them
what it
out,
is. Yeah.
letting them
I'm
come out.
just and I probably had about 8 parts pick new names. So then I had to go
Okay.
through then change all my stuff for that.
See, that is so valuable and invaluable in my estimation, Diana, for you to also log or chronicle, yeah, the transitionary
Well,
stages.
and they're very anal about it.
And
They're
that's
like, my name is spelled wrong. My
okay.
real name,
That's
their names are bigger than mine. So I have to make them all
oh, that's
equal
funny.
name,
Okay,
you
this is
know?
perfect. But really,
Oh,
I think,
oh my
and my
gosh.
guess that you're already doing it. I've seen that you do it, but to be able to catalog, especially like the parts chart, the evolution of it, that's going to be so helpful for people
And
to
my
understand.
PowerPoint's like 500 pages now. It's mind blowing. I'm like, does it have a limit? What am I going to do when I hit the limit?
Just open it, part to right. But
Yeah,
oh,
I mean,
oh,
if that's my book, it's just going to be, look through my eyes. These are my parts.
great title. Is that what you're thinking for a title?
Look through my
I
eyes.
really like it.
Well, you suggested that a couple
Oh,
months ago. Yeah.
okay,
But I'm thinking it's not really, it's chronological and not, it's weird. But it'd be a weirdly organized book, I think. But it's just the way it is.
right. Yeah. How does one make sense of
Yeah. All
so?
right. So yeah, let me let you go. I don't want your other
Let
guy.
me pray. Let me pray.
Thanks.
Lord, thank you again that Diana and I can continue to work together, and thank you for the work that she's been putting in. Continue to bless her for this work. Continue to empower her, energize her, help the parts know that they are all cooperating in something that's going to set people free, set survivors, set captives free, that they went through the most heinous of stuff. And so they will be able to serve as a lifeline to those that also went through this, so that they can lead them out from being captive, out from the darkness, into the light, into experiencing happiness and joy and peace. And Lord, there's so many survivors that don't even know this is possible to be able to get out of all this. So thank you for her work. Continue to guard her mind. Lord, guard her house. Put your strong angels round about, both inside and outside the house. Lord, thank you for the knowledge and the just the statement, the awareness in Scripture that greater is He who is within us than he who is within the world. And that you on the cross, you not only defeated all the demons, but it shows us the power of one person that is spirit filled. Just like Paul went up against not just the human powers, but we know that Satan knew about Paul, but Paul kept going. He was one man, but he was a man on a mission. So thank you for his example. And that even with the stuff he had done, Lord, he did it out of ignorance. He did. So it's amazing to think that you took a flawed individual who didn't even have abuse in his background, and that you used him. So thank you also, like in the book of James, where it says that Elijah being a man just like us. So Lord, thank you that all the prophets are just people. So we are prophetic in our own way. And Lord, thank you for Diana's prophetic voice and her channel. direct people to that channel that need to be set free. Thank you that she is blazing a trail. And so all this pain, all this work will be worth it, and continue to work on Chris. Lord, we know that you can open his mind and you're working on him. So even as we're praying for him, Lord, continue to work on his mind and his heart so that he can get a sense of your calling for him as well, and then collectively for the two of them. So thank you for that. And Lord, thank you for your commitment to us and your grace. And we'll continue to trust that you're going to open Diana's mind to the right way of putting all of this together. There's so much, Lord. So thank you that you've given her a gift, and just be this kind of superintending the process. So thank you for that. In Jesus' name.
Amen. And let's pray again. Dear Jesus, please watch over Jon and Susan and their house and family and their business and all the people that they're helping. Keep a line and circle of protective angels around them, that they may continue to do your work and fulfill your purpose through them. And beat the hell out of them perps. In Jesus' name, amen.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome, because you need protection too. So, yeah, you got a big fight on your hands. Big fight.
Sending off jets, setting off.
Yeah.
So,
all right, I'll let you go. You have a great weekend.
okay,
I'll stay in touch.
There you go. We'll talk next week. Send stuff over as it comes up.
I will. Okay. Bye.
Thanks.